Café Anyway. Hello, it's Mike. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So I was a little bit delayed in getting this podcast to you because of a scourge in California called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Called Poison Oak. Poison Oak ain't no joke. It gets on your skin. Then your body tries to fight it from within. And then you're going to have to get all red and pussy in places. That's not fun. That's not good. And I have to say it erases all my joy. But this is episode 2887.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2887 here in PodCastro Valley, the land of Ameritopica. It's where we are
Mike's
at the last place on earth.
Daily
It's good to be with you
Podcast
today, and I think what we'll do,
Yeah.
we're starting a new, we're turning a new leaf, not a poison oak leaf that's got the leaves of 3 that cause all kinds of problems, that cause a very expensive visit with my doctor, and all she says is, yeah, you got poison oak, and then writes a prescription for what do you call it? Prednisone, something like that. And that's supposed to help me with the swelling, but it keeps me awake and makes me cranky. So I can't wait for that. That's going to be great. Okay. This is some of the things that happened whilst I did not speak to you since FF episode 2886. So I thought I would share that with you, but I think I'm going to try to release this podcast in the evenings now instead of early in the morning. It was coming out before 5 a.m. weekday mornings. I think now we'll just do it the night before. And that way you can listen to all your podcasts that come out early in the morning and get all your early morning news. And then for a nice little delicious dessert, you can listen to this podcast to help cheer you up, because I am the happiest man on the planet. I seem to be full of happy and joy and frivolity. So I'm just telling you these things to make your life
Here's today's podcast picture.
a little less crazy, a little less nutty, a little less why the heck is this going on. The podcast picture is of maybe a cat, or maybe we'll have the late great Basil the Boxer on there. I think we'll skew pet somehow on the podcast picture. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. That's where you can also catch all the past podcasts and past podcast pictures. What are the foodie capitals of the world? Is what you're asking. Could San Francisco be there? Somewhere in that list? The late great Basil the Boxer went to San Francisco once. Yeah. Well, we went to Crissy Field and then also went to a different trip. We went over, right? Is that what we did? And then I think another trip we went over to Fort Funston. That's it, where all the dogs run around. But yeah, San Francisco is the 14th foodie capital of the world. As far as 180 Michelin star restaurants. Tokyo's at the top. It has 180 Michelin, I don't know. Whoever that guy is. Not the Michelin Man, who I've been told I look a little bit like, but... So, there's a...
Life grand.
This is what I'm saying. New York has 67 of those Michelin-starred restaurants. San Francisco has 30 of them. So it is 14th. Tokyo's the number 1. And looks like New York, maybe number 2. 3 Disney films could top $1 billion this year after a box office rut. A lot of people were predicting this was going to be a bad year for box office. Yet, Inside Out 2 topped with $1.5 billion. Deadpool and Wolverine is not too far behind with 850 million. And then there's also Moana 2. Moana 2 is about to come out. That's going to make some money, probably. And let's see. the average consumer now carries $6,329 in credit card debt. That's yes.
What's the cliche of the week?
That's why people are
What's the cliche of the week?
getting completely
What's the cliche of the week?
buried by credit card
What's
debt.
the cliche of the week?
Now, the credit card rewards that you get, that's fun. But Americans now that they owe a record $1.14 trillion on their credit cards. The average balance stands at the $6,329. And that is up almost 5% from last year. If we go back about 3 years ago, credit card balances have rocketed upward by almost 50%. This is why this is an issue. Yes, credit card balances have rocketed up almost by 50% in the past 3 years. Credit card delinquency rates are also higher across the board. And 9.1% of credit card balances are in delinquency. Danger, Will Robbins, danger. Factors that lead to this type of debt is the high inflation, the high interest rates, and revenge spending that people are doing post-COVID. And then they also call that funflation. That's all from Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He's heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings, and on Cron TV you can see him Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock
Random.
in the 9 o'clock hour. And with other interesting news random, here are some great ways to, if you're carrying a balance, things to remember. Rob says, number one, consolidate high interest credit cards with a lower interest personal loan, that is. And number two, switch to an interest-free balance transfer credit card to help you with all of that. Credit cards are one of the most expensive ways to borrow money, and it costs like 20%. Yikes. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Dolce & Gabbana new perfume is for dogs. Not content with dressing Beyonce, Usher, and Christina Aguilera, Dolce & Gabbana's latest is for the dog who truly has it all. A designer fragrance.
Mike's scavenger hunt.
And it's, as I'm looking through what the name of it is it Fifi? That's what I found in my hunt. It features notes of ylang flower, a touch of musk, and undertones of sandalwood. It's priced at $109 for just 3.4 ounces. But it comes with a DNG dog collar, so you'll look all designer. Let's see. Other designer items available, a dog poop bag holder charm, which is $172. A Prada puffer jacket for $765. And a large Versace bed, which is over $1,000. Wow. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, look who's here.
For your entertainment.
This guy.
The one.
Saying this
the
stuff.
The only.
What?
Mike Matthews.
Thank you. And look who else it is. Hello, Mike Matthews. There's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. That guy seemed to be a big fan of yours, Mike Matthews. Yes, he did. I have one, and I'm very happy about that. Mike Matthews, I have a bunch of eggs. Snow globes. Are you sure they're not eggs? They're snow globes? Yes, Mike Matthews, they're not eggs. They're snow globes. Okay, even though when I break open one of these snow globes, a yolk comes out. That's just magic, Mike Matthews. I provide magic here at Café Anyway. That's why this is such a great podcast, Mike Matthews. You're so happy. I'm happy. You know, when people buy your podcast, the thing, I supply a great book called Podcasting. It's Not Just a Snow Globe. Buy my book today at any place you can buy eggs.
The Mike tip.
That's my tip. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I heard you had a great time at Costco today. I went to Costco Thank you for pointing that out. And I got myself the Presdeline Derdon, whatever that wonderful medicine is that's supposed to bring down the swelling and whatnot. And I pressed it. Anywho, when I was walking around, I was really taken aback by all the people that are there on a Wednesday evening. And it made me think that, well, even though this is one of the best Costco's in the Bay Area, which I will not tell you the location because still not that many people have discovered it yet, and it's not overcrowded and overrun and full of people that you can't move 3 inches at all. It is a rather nice Costco.
Wow.
But my point being, I bought some gluten-free bread for my lovely lady friend, and I don't think it made it home. Somehow, have you ever had that happen where you buy something at Costco and between there and home it disappears? Or that could be a grocery store purchase or some other purchase and you lose it somewhere between from here to there, from there to here. Yikes. Now, I'm sure Costco has one of those understanding policies. At this point they do. Although I'm hearing they're cracking down on all sorts of things. But yet, at this point, they're still being nice about stuff, so maybe they would give me back my money. I don't know. Hey, give me back my money. Okay, I have, so many ridiculous commentary things that I have collected from idiots that are complaining about the media, complaining about favoritism in this election, and all this other crazy nut job opinion. That it's really weird. You get these...
The Newsbleed section.
In the world of news, if it bleeds, it leads. And everybody wants you to read their paper or watch their podcast. Or, see, now I'm even saying it. It should be listen to the podcast. But now podcast and video is all intertwined. So we say watch podcasts. And that train has left the station. So I guess we have to deal with it. But at any rate, it seems like there's all this complaining going on, and I won't get into it on this podcast, but I am collecting people's ridiculous, whiny white man, wine list type idiocies, which I will share with you at some point. Does that sound like fun? Like a fun thing to do on Mike's Daily Podcast? Okay.
Wine. Well, I like.
Oh, what?
The whiny white man wine list.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're telling me you want to hear it now. Here we go. Has the protection racket media recovered at least some sense of shame, says Ed Morrissey. The editorial board of the Washington Post declared this weekend that its patience with Kamala Harris's lack of candor has ended. Neither she nor her running mate, Tim Walz, will take questions on the record from reporters. Ed Morrissey goes on to say, and the Post certainly has questions. Over the course of 24 days, the current vice president has reversed herself on key issues without explanation. The Post editors don't buy that Harris can credibly reverse herself. By the way, Trump used to be against cryptocurrencies and now he's for them, and he used to be against TikTok and now he's for it. That's just some obvious stuff he's reversed on, so I guess people can reverse on things, especially people from your own party. Ed Morrissey. And why are you even called Ed Morrissey when your last name, that's just a slap in the face of one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time? God, I love me some Morrissey. He's crazy. Listen, he says, Ed, I'll just say Ed from now on.
This nightmare of a show.
Well, he goes on to say in this nightmare of an editorial about, the fracking thing, the immigration thing, blah, blah, blah. So, and he ends it by saying, and we are by Harrison Walz, but also by their own reporters and the rest of the protection racket media. He calls it the protection racket media. And it's funny, I hear the right say about the media, the legacy media and this protection racket media. And then people on the left are like, well, it's corporate media. Look how they don't even ask Trump. Like they give Trump this big old Oh, by the way,
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
Scaramucci, who worked with Trump for a long time behind the scenes, and then he was his press secretary or something for a while. He says that Trump has a tell. In other words, one of those things that shows that he's lying or he's panicking or something's not right. He's actually insecure, which the man is not. You could say anything about Trump, but he certainly is never insecure. He's a very secure individual. But when he does the accordion thing with his hands back and forth, that's apparently showing us that he's a little concerned about something and that maybe we should be concerned. Kind of like when your parents say, oh, nothing's wrong. The car's fine. We're going to make it home. Meanwhile, the car has 4 flat tires. Now, that's the other. What else? What is this here? Our broken elite media enterprise. Oh, Seth Leibson also complains. Our elite media outlets have gone all in on protecting the Democratic Party. Meaning, and who is that exactly, Seth? These elite media outlets. Which would you care to name them? Okay, he does. He says Robert Costa's CBS interview with Biden, which apparently he did not. He wasn't that. He threw him some softball questions, which I don't know. Maybe there's someone named Elon Musk who throws the softball questions at his particular subject by the name of Trump. So who's to say? It's not like there's been softball questions launched by both sides. But let's see. He says protecting the Democratic Party, the elite media outlets, meaning they have become partisan mouthpieces, not protectors of democracy. And at that very moment it is completed its surrender, they've started warning against those not in power, namely Donald Trump and his candidacy, as being a supposed threat to democracy. Memory hold is the outgoing cover-up of Joe Biden's health, perhaps the biggest lie we've lived through in our political lifetimes. And then, as they delight in recounting Trump's exaggerations, why have 0 reporters, including Bob Costa himself, not said what they know to be true? Excuse me, Mr. President, you do know Donald Trump actually criticized those white supremacists in the press conference you keep referring to, right? To the media, any lie from the left will fly, because to the media, the job is not reporting, it's to maintain the power of the left. And they also blamed, and then Trump was blaming Google for that. Speaking of that Elon Musk softball question interview, that, oh my gosh, I sounded like Donald Duck because, which is what Elon Musk was blaming Google whenever anybody was trying to search the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Donald Duck came up. But yeah, see, Elon and Trump are all blaming Google. This Seth Leibson is blaming the elite media outlets. I listened to this other guy who's more on the left-wing side, Mr. What's his name? A Midas Touch guy. He's like, oh, it's all corporate media is not. They're throwing softball questions at Trump. They're letting Trump speak for an hour from his Mar-a-Lago place and say it anyway. What it all comes down to is everything's going to be fine, because I got one hand on this voting lever and another hand is saying, oh, I hope 2025 everybody just shuts up. Gosh. The one good thing about this idiocy going back and forth, and for every time somebody criticizes the media from the right, somebody from the left is criticizing the media as well, saying the exact same thing. So your arguments don't hold water on either side. But the thing is, at the end of the day, everybody's fighting for your vote. So hopefully something good comes out of this. Hopefully some of the stuff that you want, you will get when you pull the voting, press the voting, or with the little marker, make the little black, or push the little X, or whatever it is you do when you vote in your particular state. Here we take the black pen and we fill in the oval, like the Scantron tests that we had to do when we were kids. Yikes. I'm having flashbacks. So that's the Whiny White Man wine list. That was a pretty long list, isn't it? But it's been bugging me. It always bugs me when they start tearing at the media. Because it's usually someone who's tearing at the media. Like these guys, Seth and Ed, they want them people to go to their website that they have, which I purposely did not mention who they work for or what they represent. They represent a big corporation as well. So it's ridiculous, isn't it? Don't you think? Tell me what you think. Here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640. Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Foam for All.
And with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and we hear from A-Frame. Thanks for listening. Catch you again tomorrow night. What do you think?
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.